time a chance to bring the signs and go here. That's more of Breon's family. Stand here, or where would be a good
I think
spot?
that's good.
Ready
to go? Okay, excellent.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Alan Chaboya. I am the Outreach Chair of the Milwaukee Alliance Against Racist and Political Repression. We're one of the leading organizations with the Justice for Breon Green Coalition that's been doing work around the in-custody, deaths inside the county jail. So today we're going to do a quick press conference followed by a short picket to raise awareness around what's going on inside the county jail, because I think, we firmly believe that the people of Milwaukee deserve to know what's going on and why there have been so many deaths in the last 14 months.
Who are we going to hear from?
We will be hearing from myself, Alan. I'll be speaking on behalf of the Milwaukee Alliance. We'll also be hearing from a family member of Breon Green, who passed away in June of last year inside the county jail. I'll be also reading a statement from Kerry, that is Sylvia Thirion's mother. She can't join us today. She's traveling. And we were hoping to hear from Supervisor Clancy, but he's, doing some good stuff down in Maui. He got called for the emergency wildfires there. So, yeah, we won't be hearing from him today because he's doing some other important stuff. So that's what we'll be hearing from. And, yeah, that's how we'll proceed. So I'll start off by welcoming a member from Breon Green's family to come and speak. So, Laquita, would you like?
Hello. Could we ask you to say and spell your name just so we get that?
Laquita Dunlap, Laquita Dunlap.
And your relationship?
Mom, the mother of Breon Green, who died in police custody June 26th of last year. It's been a year already. And, I just like to say that, we still need transparency and accountability, for the deaths and custody deaths. Our loved ones, our kids are here and supposed to be protected, by law officials and stuff, and the conditions and stuff like that. I mean, my son died within 28 minutes of being in police custody, What was his supervision, and his proper cell check and everything else, we're still asking for accountability,
I know you've spoken in the
Not
past
just
about...
for him, but for all the families that's involved in all these police deaths and in custody deaths, somebody needs to be held accountable for it.
I know in the past you pushed for release of the full video. Where are you at with that?
28 to 48, I agree with that, we are family grieving, we just been told that we don't know, they don't know, you know what I'm saying? How can you not know when they're in your custody and supposed to be protected, We need some type of communication besides from the media. 28 and 48-hour release is necessary.
Are there still unanswered questions, and what conversations or communication do you have with law enforcement in the past year?
Yes, it is. There's still a lot of unanswered questions, hopefully one day they will answer it, and hopefully one day the real video will be released, but until then, I'm still waiting and fighting with other families, until we get answers.
Is it hard to grieve because of that?
Yes, I'm still grieving, and it's still hard to grieve, because why? 28 minutes. Y'all only had him in y'all custody for 28 minutes, and he was dead. He was gone.
What comes next for your family with your, your push for transparency?
I don't know what comes next, Well, I just want answers, and I'm ready to move forward,
There was a new sheriff, I believe.
Anita Ball.
Right, in between times. Did you notice any changes in communication? Did anything get better or worse when she took over?
No, it's the same. It's still the same. Everything's still the same, Little to none communication. I met with her once, and that was it. Nothing has happened. Nothing has changed. The promises, weren't fulfilled. So we're still at square one.
Anything else you'd like to add that you didn't
No, I just want everybody to know that, we're here to fight with the families. I thank everybody for the love and support. We do need accountability and transparency and some type of investigation into the deaths into the Milwaukee County Jail, that's going on. These families are grieving. We are grieving. These are our kids.
Thank you.
So yeah, we heard from Laquita. Next, I'll read a quick statement from Kerry Hurt, mother of Sylvia Therion. I want everyone to think if they know someone with mental health issues, and ask yourself, if they were to go to jail, would they make it back? Most children that have grown up with special needs and have any type of behavioral issues end up in jails or prisons where they are left untreated. Milwaukee Jail has WellPath, a third-party company that seems to run inside the jail without having to abide by their own policies of keeping people safe within the jail. More people continue to die inside the county jail due to some sort of health issue. This should not be happening, and people need to know that the jail has a responsibility to keep all of the people in their custody safe. As you may have heard, Sylvia was given an item by a correctional officer that ended her life. Had this item not been given to her, Sylvia would still be here. Had they checked her cell every 15 minutes, she would still be here. This is not just about my child, this is about everyone who walks through those doors and is placed in their care. Some will make it home, but others will stay lost in the system and never have a way out. A greater budget is not the solution. More correctional officers is not the solution. A lot of this responsibility should be on WellPath and Sheriff Laquita Dunlap for failing to make sure policies are followed and people are kept safe. Thank you. So that was a statement from Kerry, Sylvia's mother. And next I'll just read the Milwaukee Alliance's statement. So we're holding this press conference today because in the past 14 months there have been 6 in-custody deaths inside the Milwaukee County Jail. Let's let that sink in. That's 6 deaths. In June of last year, Breon Green, as you were just told, died minutes after being booked inside the county jail. Following that tragedy, we began working with the family of Breon Green to demand transparency and accountability from the sheriff's office. We even met with Sheriff Laquita Dunlap, and she tried her best to convince us that the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office was working to rectify those issues that led to his death. She promised us greater transparency. Shortly after we met with Sheriff Ball, Sylvia Therion passed away on December 16th. And now in 2023, there have been 4 further deaths. When will these deaths stop? Where is the transparency and where's the accountability? These are questions we're all carrying in our heads and in our hearts. In the Milwaukee Alliance, we are tired of hearing from the sheriff that the sheriff's office takes these matters seriously, only to fail to provide any robust actions around these issues. When we look at Sylvia's case, we see that she dealt with many mental health issues, stemming from a lack of access to proper facilities that could help her. As Sylvia's mother explained, these problems got worse when Sylvia became an adult, and access to those resources became all the more scarce. The state's lack of access to those resources means that most of these people will end up in jail or in prison, away from their families, communities, and any system of support. This is one of the main issues that we see surrounding these in-custody deaths. There are many people like Sylvia and Breon who should not be treated inside a county jail. County jail and correctional officers, these are not replacements for adequately funded mental health and behavioral health institutions with trained professionals. But instead of looking as to how we could fund those systems, how we can fund those institutions, and here in Milwaukee, Sheriff Ball has the audacity to turn these deaths into talking points demanding a 34% budgetary increase. We have said it before, but let me be even more clear. These in-custody deaths, they're not the result of staffing issues or budgetary problems or shortages in the sheriff's office. Over the past decade, Milwaukee sheriffs have been milking the county dry, demanding more and more money for their budgets. In order to fund those budgets, that means that there's less money available for the publicly funded services that could help our communities keep ourselves safe and take care of each other. This is a glaring issue that the sheriff continues to obfuscate. The conditions in the jail and the swelling sheriff's budget are symptoms of a society that is reactionary rather than preventative. We prioritize punitive measures to quote-unquote fix these issues that should be fixed through preventative measures. The jail is overpopulated. And to fix that, we need alternatives rather than continue to lock people up and keeping them locked in. But we're not falling for the sheriff's, for Sheriff Ball's talking points. We're tired of the countless excuses as to why the sheriff's office is failing the people it claims to take care of. We are tired of the sheriffs using these deaths in order to ask for greater funding from the county, which basically sums up the latest report that the sheriff's office has produced. Sheriff Ball is failing to provide any actionable solutions for what's happening inside that jail. And she thinks she can get away with this because, as she says, as an elected body, the sheriff believes that the office is only accountable to themselves. The sheriff's office has millions in funding, yet it cannot operate a county jail safely. What they are doing to the people in that jail is inhumane. We're talking about 23-hour lockdowns, inedible food, and horrendous mistreatment. So where's all that money going? They don't give answers, and yet they want us to give more and more. Enough is enough. The results speak for themselves. The sheriff's office cannot perform these functions. They are mismanaging their budget, they refuse to be transparent, and they cannot hold themselves accountable. Since they have proven year after year that they cannot be trusted to manage a more than generous budget, hold themselves accountable, and be transparent, we need to establish some sort of civilian oversight body. Ideally, we can establish a board composed of civilians that can, 1, hold the sheriff's office accountable since they can't do it themselves. 2, ensure that that money is actually going towards actionable solutions and providing adequate treatment and care. And 3, be able to push reforms that will improve the conditions in the jail. Until we have something like this in place, there will be more in custody deaths, regardless of how much money we give to the sheriff. If the sheriff thinks differently, then we welcome her to keep her promise that she made to us and hold a public town hall to hear from the people of Milwaukee and explain what she's doing and how she's mismanaging the jail. We deserve to know what's going on in our facilities that we fund publicly. We want Breon's and Sylvia's belongings returned to the families. Those investigations are concluded. It should not be the case that it goes over a year and they still don't have the belongings. There's no further excuse. We don't want any more in-custody deaths. We want transparency from the sheriff's office. We want that public town hall with Sheriff Ball. We want the civilian oversight. And until this happens, there should be no more budgetary increases to the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office. Thank you.
Thanks, Al.
And that's it. Any questions?
Yeah, so I know you spoke about, the sheriff pointing to lack of staffing, and you're saying that's not quite the issue. Do you think increasing staffing would help at all, or I guess?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think it's just a talking point. It's a similar talking point that we see from the police. They'll say, we need more officers, we need more correctional officers, we need more of this, more of that. But regardless of how big of a staff you have, how large, if you're not managing the institution well, it's going to fail. And so they've been getting way more funding in the county at least over the last 10 years. But they're not doing anything with it. The problems are getting worse. So it's not a staffing issue, it's not a budgetary issue.
What do you think the jail can do better when it comes to mental health? Because we know so many people who are in need of mental health treatment do end up in jail. I mean, what solutions do you think could be there?
Yeah, so I think these people shouldn't be taken care of in the jail. There should be alternatives that are publicly funded that could provide a lot of people with those mental health issues the services they require and they deserve. What good does it do to lock someone up for 23 hours when they're already having suicidal thoughts and suicidal ideations? You're setting them up to do what people have done in that jail in the past year. So we're failing people immediately by keeping them locked up. So it's nothing that the jail can do. They're not designed to do anything for people with these mental health issues. We need different institutions that are not punitive. Mental health should not be treated with incarceration. Mental health issues should not be punished, right? No one asks for these mental health issues. They just happen, right? Some of us are born with them. So we as a society are failing them already. So we need alternatives to just housing them in the county jail.
I believe with these 6 deaths, they're all being investigated by an outside agency. I believe it's all, Waukesha County, that's what it is. Do you think the investigation is going far enough, or there's enough investigation into these deaths?
We don't believe in that. I sat there with Breon's family when we saw the video, and they're saying that somehow an officer who simply walks by a cell and does a less than a second glance is doing his job well. And they come back with nothing, saying, oh, there's no, neglect there. I'm sorry, but that's to say it nicely, a load of, of expletive. So we don't trust those other institutions to hold them accountable and to be transparent. And they've shown it time and time again. And so, yeah, we don't believe that those outside parties are doing anything. And that's why I think we need civilians to overlook these things rather than other law enforcement agencies.
Are you confident any changes can be made?
You know, I think we can get very creative with this, and I think that there can be a lot if a lot of these elected people take, they take note as to what we're demanding. I think we can create a system here that we can see, through a civilian accountability sort of council of sorts, where they can look into what's going on in there and hear from people who have been incarcerated unjustly. Who better than the people who have that experiential knowledge as to how they've been mistreated in there to let us know what needs to be done? Sheriff Ball, every time people have asked for a tour in there, they get denied. And they will take a while because they want to get certain things set up there, and then when they take us through the little tour, they only show us what they want us to see. But we're already seeing it. Sheriff Ball and the Sheriff's Office is not able to control these facilities. Once the other, formerly the House of Correction, was taken away from the Sheriff's, oversight, those conditions changed drastically. So why do we keep trusting them with the county jail?
Anything else you'd like to add?
No, that is all.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much. All right.